Good evening and welcome to the Shrewsbury School Committee for June 11th, 2025. My name is Erin Boucher and I'm the chairperson of the Shrewsbury School Committee. Tonight's meeting is being broadcast live on Selco channels 29 and 329 and streamed live on Shrewsbury Media Connection's website. Thank you to Liz Poplowski and Shrewsbury Media Connection for their assistance with our broadcast. Tonight's meeting will be rebroadcast on SMC's website and their YouTube channel between now and our next scheduled meeting. The first item on our agenda is public participation. Tonight, we have not received any requests to speak at public participation. Public participation is available to all residents who would like to address the committee regarding concerns of policy, budget, and the performance of the superintendent. In the future, if anyone would like to speak at public participation, they should contact the chairperson of the school committee in advance of the next scheduled meeting. The next item on the agenda is chairpersons and members' reports. Colleagues, anything to share?
No.
I would just like to mention the school committee had a workshop last evening, and at which time we voted unanimously to appoint Sandra Frick to the Shrewsbury High School Building Committee. Dr. Sawyer, do you have any?
Thank you. This is the last committee meeting of the 2024-25 school year. The school year ends, last day of school is next Monday. There's a lot of year-end events that are happening. In particular, I wanted to mention and thank everyone involved with putting on the annual field days for our students in elementary and middle schools, particularly our physical education faculty, and all the many, many parent volunteers who make those events possible for our students. Similarly, we are in the midst of having moving up ceremonies, our 4th grade celebrations and our 8th grade celebrations, as they complete their elementary and middle school years. And for all the staff members at all those schools, there's a lot of planning that goes into those events, and we appreciate all of that so we can celebrate those milestones for our students. So for those and for all the other year-end activities to help make it a positive finish to a successful school year, I'm very appreciative, and we're looking forward to ending on a positive note. And that is Superintendent's report this evening.
The first item on our agenda this evening is a time-scheduled appointment. It's a student recognition. We have some state champions here tonight in speech and debate, tech of business, and a science fair champion as well. We will start with the speech and debate team. The high school speech and debate team is enjoying another very successful year, with Nuha Salam being recognized as the 2025 Massachusetts Speech and Debate League state champion in dramatic performance, and Vasudevan Laxmanam, who attends Mass Academy of Math and Science, the Massachusetts Academy of Math and Science. He's unable to attend tonight, but they're being recognized as the 2025 Massachusetts Speech and Debate League state champion in extemporaneous speaking. English language education teacher at Oak Middle School, Mr. Gabriel Hopkins, is here. He's the speech and debate head coach at the high school. So if you'd like to introduce the student.
Yeah, thank you for having us. So the speech and debate team came second overall at the state championship, the state speech and congress finals in April. And we had 2 individual state champions. So one was Vasu Lakshmanan, who couldn't be here tonight. He was state champion in extemporaneous speaking. And with me, I have Nuha Salam, who was state champion in dramatic performance. I should also mention that Nuha recently was placed second overall at the National Catholic Forensic League's Grand National Tournament, where over 400 schools competed at. So that took place over Memorial Day weekend in Chicago. I'm going to hand over to Nuha to explain a little bit about what dramatic performance is, and about speech and debate a little bit.
Yeah, so the category that I competed in states that I won champion in was dramatic performance, which is basically a category where we choose a piece of literature, that orients around an issue that is important to us or an issue that we feel like needs some more attention. So I specifically chose a piece regarding a specific domestic violence case where the media blamed the woman afterwards, even though she was a victim in the situation. And our job is kind of to act that out. So that is what dramatic performance is. And I think in general, speech and debate has been a very huge part of my life. I think I began speech and debate in 6th grade, and ever since I started it, it's definitely, first of all, given me a community. It's given me a lot of opportunities to meet new people, whether it's within our school and our team or across other schools in these state tournaments or in national tournaments. It's definitely helped my social skills in connecting other people. But also it's helped my skills in terms of giving me confidence in learning how to use my voice and advocate for myself. Through the various categories speech and debate has, I think one thing is common in all of them, and that's the opportunity to use your voice and shine light on some issues which you think deserve more attention. So in those ways, it's definitely helped me.
That's great. Any comments or?
I'm always so impressed by everybody that does speech and debate, and how eloquent all of you are. So if you started back in 6th grade, what made you decide to do speech and debate? There's obviously so many great things that came out of that, but what was that little thing that said, like, let's do speech and debate versus doing anything else?
Well, I think when I was younger, I used to be a really shy kid, and my parents kind of didn't like that. So they kind of enrolled me in, like, I think even before 6th grade, there was, like, this one summer camp that I did, which was, like, Public Speaking 101, where we learned how to do, where we learned how to, like, give speeches and things like that. And through that, I kind of realized that I actually really enjoyed it. And I think in general, public speaking is a really important skill which is applicable in all fields of life, and it's something that's very beneficial to everyone. So I think just the ability to, like, better those skills is the reason that I joined speech and debate.
Congratulations, and also on your most recent second place. That's amazing. And I think for me, understanding about speech and debate, it's also the amount of time that has to be put in. This is way beyond, I think, what most people know. Can you just talk about, like, a typical week, how much time you spend? This is on top of either work or in all your studies as well.
Yeah, well, we have 2.5-hour practices each week. And then in addition to that, we usually have local tournaments, which are, like, twice every month or sometimes 3 times every month, where we spend majority of our Saturdays in, like, local high schools in Massachusetts competing. So I think it's between the practice times and the competition times, which are the most time commitment. And then obviously we have various tournaments, which are, like, travel tournaments, where we have, like, Yale, Harvard, where these universities host speech and debate tournaments. We need to travel for those. There's also national tournaments, so those are bigger time commitments. And out of that, I also take some time to practice myself, especially in the lead up to bigger tournaments like states and nationals. So that would be an additional couple of hours too.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations on all your successes, not just for this, but for year round. I know we get updates from Coach Hopkins all the time. Really appreciate those, and really appreciated hearing your journey through speech and debate and how it helped you kind of break out of your shell. And you're right, I mean, I think public speaking is going to serve you well in the future for sure. It's not an easy thing to do, but you've achieved such a high level. Very impressive. So congrats to you and the team all year.
Thank you.
Yeah, same thing. I echo the colleagues' comments. Congratulations. Thanks for keeping up with our tradition of winning and being on the top. So that's a great thing. So dramatic performances, do they give you, like, instant response, or do you get some time before you prep the or prop, whatever they gave, and then how many students participated in it?
Well, for dramatic performance, it's usually prepared beforehand. There are definitely other categories in speech and debate where it's more on the spot or impromptu. And usually in dramatic performance, I'd say at the state level, there's somewhere between 30 and 40 people. And then obviously there's more people at the national level. But yeah.
Wonderful. That's great. So thanks for all the volunteers who are working off hours during weekends and also during holidays. So thanks for your family who's supporting, and all the volunteers and the speech and debate team. So great work, great job. Keep up the good work. And as you said, yeah, these are all transferable skills that will come with you all the time, everywhere throughout your life. So keep up the good work.
Thank you.
I missed, what year are you at Shrewsbury High School?
I'm right now a junior.
Okay, great. So we have you back next year.
Yeah.
Congratulations on all your success this year, and I'm sure you'll be a wonderful mentor to the younger students that are coming along up the pipeline. You have a wonderful program that starts, I know, in the middle school level, and I know the older students do a lot to work and mentor the younger students, which is great and a testament to our continued success. So thank you very much, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. I certainly want to add my congratulations, Nuha, and for your outstanding performance. I'm curious, could you share also, this is not the only category you compete in, is that correct? So what are some of the other categories over the course of the season that you were competing in?
Well, this season specifically, I performed in dramatic performance, program of oral interpretation, poetry, and then I also performed in prose. And then at the national level, I performed in oral interpretation, which is a combination of poetry and prose.
So I think just to make it all the more remarkable that not only are you practicing this dramatic piece that is ended up being second in the nation and first in our state, but at the same time you have all these other pieces that you've been practicing and performing and doing extremely well in other tournaments locally as well. Again, well done, and we're very proud of your performance. As your other fellow students, and as Mr. Hopkins mentioned, second in the state this year, we are really indebted to the work that Mr. Hopkins does as a coach. As you know, succeeded the longtime coach, Mr. Rischitelli, and the program hasn't missed a beat. We have lots of assistant coaches. We have lots of parent volunteers, the Poise organization that's so supportive. And always remarkable how many alumni come back to actually judge in different tournaments, both in the local and the state and the national level. And there's just such a strong culture in the team that is continuing thanks to the leadership, not only of Mr. Hopkins and the coaches, but of course the students like Nuha who have continued to carry on that excellent tradition. So very much appreciative and congratulate you. What we're going to do this evening, because we have two more groups of students to honor, we'll have them do that and interact with the committee. And then when all three groups have completed, we'll have a certificate for you, and we'll do some photos before we let you go for the evening. So thank you, and at this time, why don't we move on to our DECA state champions.
Yes.
Thank you.
The Massachusetts DECA prepares emerging student leaders and entrepreneurs in marketing, finance, hospitality, and management. 3 Shrewsbury High School students were recognized this year as Mass DECA first place state champions in their events. Griffin Walsh, Principles of Marketing; Emmanuel Yu, Principles of Entrepreneurship; Narithi Kanan, Principles of Hospitality and Tourism. Instructional Technology and Media Services teacher Jason Andriola is the advisor to the team. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thanks for having us. As you said, I stated I'm here with 2 state champions from the DECA State Conference that was held in March of this year. We had a really successful year in DECA. We had about 150 students, active students, and our success rate was quite strong, increased over last year, meaning the number of students that advanced each to the next level. Students who placed at the highest at the district level were able to advance to the state level, which we had about 75, I would say, at states. It does change the game. It gets much more competitive, and then ultimately we move on to the international level. These students had to compete at the state level against about 4,000 other students, and they are based on a written exam and a business role play, which is judged by industry professionals. So here with me tonight are Arthi Kanan, grade 9. She earned an award in the category of Principles of Hospitality and Tourism, and Arthi's category was also sponsored by DECA, so she earned a cash prize of $250. That was a nice surprise. And then Emmanuel Yu here is in grade 10, and he earned his first place award in Principles of Entrepreneurship, which is actually a new category this year, and a very popular one because entrepreneurship is exciting. And he also earned an additional medal for the top test score in his category at the state level. Lastly, Griffin Walsh, he recently graduated from Shrewsbury High. He was in the category of Principles of Marketing, and he earned first place. I spoke to him today, and he did say he would rather be here with us, but he had to work, so he couldn't make it, and he wishes he could have come. So his also his category was sponsored by DECA, and he earned $400 in cash, or a check from the DECA organization. Once we completed the state conference, we moved on to the international conference in Orlando, and we had 26 students compete at that level, various awards at that level. So I'll let these guys take it over and share a little bit about your category, perhaps.
All right. Hi. I'm sure you've seen me here before. Now I'm here talking about DECA instead of SAC. This was my first year on the DECA business team, and I decided to go into principles of entrepreneurship because it's a popular category. I think entrepreneurship is more, it spoke more to me. It was more interesting compared to something like business management, marketing, financing, stuff like that. Principles of entrepreneurship overall, it's a principles category, so it's mainly for first year students, and it's really, even though it's talking about entrepreneurship specifically, you have to know really the basis of all the topics and all the information that will be covered in these DECA competitions. This is relating to hard skill stuff like business management, finance, economics, stuff like that, while also soft skills like communication, emotional intelligence, professional development, and so on. So overall, I feel like my experience on this team really brought away three things. It would be career readiness, some insights into actual real world experience, and just personal growth in myself. For career readiness, again, I have to be knowing about all of these aspects of business, not just about entrepreneurship specifically. So then that really does, it showed a different side to me because I feel like walking into this, really thought business was more the hard skills things. Financial information, economics, stuff like that. But then as I prepared for these competitions and as I immersed myself more into what DECA was really about, it's really the fine details in between that really sets apart certain competitors is really those soft skills. How you're able to communicate, how you're able to settle arguments or disputes between certain people, stuff like that. So it really gave me insight and like expanded my experience and knowledge on what business and business in general was really about. At these DECA competitions also, there was an array of speakers or one-on-one things that we could do with colleges, professionals in certain areas of business, as well as individual speakers talking about their own stories of bringing themselves from the ground up in terms of business or their own financial growth. So then I feel like because DECA provides these opportunities, it really does give some insights and some perspectives into actual real world experiences or real world applications of what we're learning and what we're preparing for at these actual DECA competitions and in these DECA business clubs. And lastly would be my own personal growth. I feel like I learned a lot of things about work ethic, actually putting myself out there, and then just really taking the first steps to actually immerse myself into this club and into this activity. Because I really feel like the first steps is really the hardest. There's a lot of information to be covering, a lot of stuff to be tackling. So yeah, really overall, it was an experience. I really had fun at this DECA Business Club. I was able to do well at states, and I feel like overall work ethic, communication, hard skills, stuff like that. This was really the takeaways I learned while on this team.
I'm also a first-year member on the DECA business team, and I chose to go into Principles of Hospitality and Tourism because I felt like finance and business management were too hardcore and stiff, I feel like. And Principles of Hospitality and Tourism allowed me to be more creative and personable with my responses and allowed me to really be able to connect with these judges and kind of separate myself from other competitors. And I feel like DECA has given me a lot of results and I've learned a lot from DECA, but I think a main thing I've learned from DECA is to always try harder, because at the district level, you could get a lower score on your test or a lower role play score, but you would still be able to advance. But at the states level, it is harder to advance. So it kind of just forced me to work harder and kind of push myself to be the best of my responsibilities. And also I learned to really just be creative and be free. And during my states role play, it was about financial security and about how to settle disputes between customers and how to really make people feel connected within a cruise line. And I think a main reason why competitors choose Principles of Hospitality and Tourism is because it's more reflective of the real world, and there's no hardcore skills that you need to know. It's more of how you can connect the real world to business. And I know I couldn't have succeeded in DECA without the mentors within the club and the upperclassmen, and I couldn't be more grateful for a club like DECA that has taught me so much.
Congratulations to both of you, and as a business and finance major in college and grad school, those courses are boring, so you went the right way. So I think, for me, I never had that opportunity. So when I got to school, I thought that's what I wanted to study, and I'm glad it was. But you're getting these opportunities now to really kind of look and see what's important, what do I want to look into, and, entrepreneurship, that's a huge category. Tourism's huge. So you're getting a lot of experience at such a young age. I think it's fabulous. And this is such a huge club, as we talked about last year. And I think I missed it last year, the test component. So there's the test, and then there's the other role player, however that works. How do you decide what to study for that test component? Because I'm thinking there's a lot of areas that you could be asked about.
Yeah, on the test specifically, it's really tackling everything there is to know, while it dives more specific for the role plays. DECA is really clear on what they really are going to be testing you on. For individual categories, there's going to be different amounts of questions for different areas or categories of business. Mm-hmm. For me specifically, in Principles of Entrepreneurship, we really covered things like communications, entrepreneurship, business management, professional development, stuff like that. While for hospitality and tourism, it might be different. So it's really clear on what you should be studying or what you should be preparing, and it really specifies and diverges off when it comes to role plays.
Excellent. But thank you, and I think your comments about soft skills are so important. That's something that employers really look for, because somebody may be really smart in their CAD, but if they don't have those soft skills, they are not going to be successful. So you're learning great skills for college and beyond. So congratulations, and thank you for all your work. It's a huge club, we know that. So thank you.
Yeah, and sometimes I can't believe it's only our third year we've come so far. And I think what Arthi said, I mean, her sister was in it, and she was one of the start founders with me, and it's cool to see kind of that people passing it along to their siblings or their friends, and building in this kind of community where they can help each other. Where Arthi mentioned she likes focused on the principles of hospitality. We do a better job now, I think, as a team of like, what are your interests? What is your skill set? These are the routes I would go, because as you know, business can be a million different things. So I think we're doing a better job of placing people in what areas they might want to explore.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Very impressed. And you said it, this is year 3 of DECA, which is amazing to think that you've achieved this level. 150 students, you say, participate. I think that number was a little higher.
We did decrease the number this year.
Yeah.
We just thought like we could focus in on a smaller group.
Sure.
So yeah, we did cap it this year at 150. So.
And where do you typically conduct your sessions within the high school?
We use usually 2 or 3 classrooms.
Okay.
That's certainly a challenge, is getting the whole group together. If we need a whole group meeting, we'll use the presentation room or the auditorium. And then what we'll do is for regular meetings, we'll utilize a few classrooms. And the nice thing, again, with the students kind of growing in the program is they can kind of take on certain classrooms and help kind of manage certain groups based on a content area. We might have a finance room or a marketing room, and kind of which area you're going to focus on and get support. So I really leveraged the students this year to try to be those kind of leaders and mentors, and divvy up the groups.
It's, outstanding. And as you're both presenting to us, you almost forget that this is a club. This is an addition to what they do for their day-to-day academics. So just fascinating to kind of hear your kind of thought process behind the topics that you each took up. If you're ever looking for some customer insights on cruise line passengers, I just got off a cruise last week. I can give you a lot of insight if you need any. But well done, and thank you for presenting tonight.
Congratulations to both of you. This is definitely a club that I wish that I had when I went to school, because it really does prepare you for the real world. And this is, when I went to school, my focus wasn't to go into business, but that's what I ended up going into. But when I learned it, I was kind of on the job learning these skills. You are already so far ahead of people having going into college, and you're probably going to continue to do something like this and just refine your skills. So this is really impressive, and this is going to serve you very well. In terms of when you're at a DECA competition, I know that they prep you a little bit in terms of like what you're going to be working on, but what does that look like? Like when you're role playing, do you know, like for the cruise line, did you know that they were going to ask you specific questions, or is this kind of something that you're learning a lot and they can just throw something out at you? Like what does that day look like for you when you're competing?
Yeah, so there's two parts of DECA. There's a written side where you prepare a 20-page or 10-page paper and you present your solution in front of a judge. It's most likely you partner with a company that exists in the real world and you make a solution that makes it better for the real world. But the category that me and Emmanuel compete in is role plays, which is a 10-minute prep time. So we enter the room, they make you flip over a card, and that's your situation. That's the moment where you find out what your situation is. And they kind of just give you a brief line of who the judge is, what's happening right now, what they're asking you, what's the problem, what are you trying to solve. And you have 10 minutes to prepare visuals and a solution that better helps you explain to the judge or whatever role they're impersonating of what the solution is. So you have 10 minutes during a role play to present. So usually you would present your solution for about 6 to 8 minutes, I would say. And then the judge has the chance to ask you 2 questions. And that kind of just challenges the competitors. And I think what sets them apart is how they can develop their situation right away on the spot when they're faced with questions that they didn't know they were going to be asked. So these questions are very impromptu, and they sometimes turn a twist in the situation, or if your solution was really good, they kind of dive into your solution to find the little nitpicky details to see how well you've developed your situation within the 10 minutes.
Congratulations, and then I'm very impressed because as you mentioned, this is a third year, and then we have champions here. And I'm very impressed also. I think we went into the international competition too, so that's a very great. So it's all hard work, as the other members mentioned. It's impressive how you balance the actual course study and also these extra curricular activities. I think that pays you well when you go into real world job or start up your own company, and so you know exactly what to expect out there. So this is very impressive. Congratulations. So how much of the time commitment do you put into this prepping day to day? And my second question is, so is there in next year, let's say, is there an opportunity to cross-pollinate, or you have to stick in your own swim lane for the rest of the school year?
I would say for time commitments, mostly every week, we just meet after school for about half an hour to an hour. That's mainly onboarding tasks where we're getting ourselves situated for the year, letting everybody know what these categories are, which one may interest you, which one should you choose, stuff like that. And then later on into the year, once competitions are actually finally coming up, our club provides after school one-on-one sessions where we can really practice our role plays, practice those interpersonal skills, and get ourselves more accustomed with actually competing or in that competing environment. I utilized every single one of those. Those were really helpful. And other than that, for us competitors, that would really be it. When it comes to preparation outside of school and outside of the club, that's really as far as you really want to take it. Since there's so many competitors that you're going against around the state, locally, or around the world, it's really, the ceiling is as high as you want to take it. And responsibilities really go up if you're, say, an officer for the team. There's a lot of charity events or other sort of behind the scenes work that you really have to be doing. So overall, it's really mostly flexible.
Yeah, and a little to add on to what Emmanuel said, when you're coming more closer to a competition, I think you would spend maybe a couple hours a week more preparing for the test or the week of the test, because there's just a lot of topics covered on the test. It's 100 multiple choice questions. And so I think it's more personable because DECA provides a lot of practice tests for you to do, and I think that's the most, like, the best way to go about practicing for the tests. And about the swim lanes, so the category me and Emmanuel do is principals, so we're no longer eligible to compete in it next year as we're no longer first year members. So next year there's divisions under DECA. There's hospitality, finance, entrepreneurship. So if Emmanuel did principles of entrepreneurship this year, he might want to choose to continue in entrepreneurship next year under categories like entrepreneurship series or other categories. I did hospitality, so I could continue under that division and do quick serve food management or anything under that category. Or if I want to try something new, I could jump in and try a finance category or an entrepreneurship category.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've definitely seen students go both ways with it. You know, sticking, 3 years we've had students stay within the same because they just want to try to keep, doing better than they did. We've had people say, I really didn't know what this was. I'm not interested in this anymore, and totally switch. And I think both are great. Gives you kind of exposure to different options. So I should add too, at the international level, as a team, we had 100% earning of our students earning a certificate of excellence, which is pretty great. Given every student, it meant everybody met the threshold that DECA sets for the test and the role play. So everybody walked away with that in Orlando.
Great, thanks.
Congratulations to you both. I just think it's so impressive that half of the members made states. It's a real testament to the club and to the strength of how you guys help each other, really mentor each other and help bring each other along. And that 26 of your members made it to ICDC this year, which was wonderful. I think the skill of being able to speak and to be able to be quick on your feet is invaluable, and it's going to serve you well as you go on in whatever careers that you guys choose. So congratulations.
Yeah, it's really cool to see their critical thinking and their creativity, especially in the world of AI. It's like on the spot. It's like, what can you come up with? And I think that skill might be kind of like diminishing in the future of AI. So I think that's what they going to continue to get from this.
That's great.
Well, people watching may be recruiting. It's very impressive young people here. So certainly want to mention Griffin, who couldn't be with us tonight. Griffin Walsh, congratulations to him. To you, Arthi and Emmanuel, we're again very proud of that. I know that Ms. Boucher's daughter was able to be part of the team this year. My daughter was able to be part of the team. So I know from a parental point of view, all the different skills that are developed that really it's an opportunity and really appreciative that Mr. Andriola took the initiative to work with the students who are interested to start a chapter here at Shrewsbury High School and to become so successful so quickly is a testament to you. I know Ms. Flynn was an assistant this year, other folks who had, Ms. Blasioli, others who chaperoned and helped, but the students, lots of student leaders who really supported each other, which is really the kind of culture that we really appreciate in our different high school activities. So congratulations and thank you. And after our next presentation, we'll have you come up for some certificates, but why don't we make the switch now to our science fair champion.
Thank you.
So at the Shrewsbury High School Science Fair, student Nichelle Finnegar created a soft biomimetic, I'm probably saying this wrong, you can correct me, Nichelle, robotic snake with an, oh my goodness, astrotropically frictional skin design for rubble search and recovery project, and it ranked in the top 12. She went on to earn the top prize, the Santa Fe Grand Award at the Math Science and Engineering State Fair, along with a bid to the International Science and Engineering Fair. Mr. Dave Rascosi, the Director of Science and Engineering at Shrewsbury High School, is here with us tonight as well. Thank you.
Hi, thank you for having us. I think it's real special that you recognize student work and especially their accomplishments. So thank you, Dr. Sawyer and members of the committee. Just to give you a little bit of background, the science fair really begins at the start of the school year. There's some students that are enrolled in research methods. and we have about 30 students that are enrolled in research methods courses, either biology or chemistry. And then they work with their teacher through the year on their project up until around January, when they're really starting to put together what they need to present. We also have about 10 to 12 students that will participate in the science fair who are not in research methods classes. So students are always welcome to participate in the science fair, even if they're not in research methods. And so we have about 50 students that participate in the school fair in February. And then we're able to advance about 12 students to the regional fair, which is at WPI in March. And then from there, there's around 150 competitors from the region, and they're able to select 30 that advance on to the state level. And so Nichelle was one that advanced to the state. And I'm proud to say that Nichelle was our first, as far as the records that I'm able to dig up since around 2004 or 5. The first student that we've had earn the Grand Prize Award at the state level. So at each of these levels, they have several first place winners. So you could almost call it a tier, first place tier, where you have 4 or 5 that earn first place at the regionals, and then 4 or 5 students that will earn first place at the state. But from the records that I can tell, Nichelle is the first one to earn, like, the first among firsts, so to say. So it's really a fantastic accomplishment. That also gave her an opportunity to participate in the International Science Fair, and that was in Columbus, Ohio. We had another student, Jayaratna Deshamanu, who was able to participate in the International Fair as well, because he took first place at the regional fair, and then participated in the state fair as well. So it's really been a special year for the science fair, and even though this is the focus of Nichelle's and the reason that you're recognizing her, we have a really accomplished scientist, engineer, inventor here, because you've also been recognized in independent competitions as well. That was recognized in a local news program. So really phenomenal work that you do. So I'll turn it over to you. Yeah.
Yeah, hi, my name's Nichelle. If you don't mind, I'll give you like a 3-minute brief presentation on my project, and then feel free to ask any questions. Stand up for this. So yeah, imagine there's just been an earthquake, and the building you were in collapsed, leaving you trapped under layers of rubble. Like the 65,000 people who died in your situation in 2023 alone, your chances of survival right now are about 60%. But over the course of the next 48 hours, that drops all the way down to just 10%. So I was inspired to create some kind of device that could help people trapped under the rubble after an earthquake survive until search and rescue crews arrive, which takes quite a bit of time, but that's the only option that these people who are trapped have to actually survive. So the reason I went with the snake design you see here is because snakes have evolved for the past 145 million years to be able to move through environments like rubble. And I wanted to create a soft robot which relies on compliant parts, which you can see here, which I'm sure look unfamiliar in a robotics setting to you. That's because it's far, far more cost-effective than the components you might see in traditional rigid robots. And robotic snakes have been explored before, but I really wanted to get down to the very details of the reason that people mimic snakes. So, go to the next slide.
Sure.
I found that existing robotic snakes use things like wheels, but last I checked, snakes don't have wheels. So, if you can go on to the next slide. I really focused on the biology of a snake's skin. Now, their skin is really smooth from head to tail, but very rough from tail to head. And what that lets them do is glide smoothly over a surface, but then at those points along their body, which you can see marked out on that slide, they actually push backwards against the ground, and the sharp edges of their scales catch on little bumps in a surface to let the snake propel its body forward. And that's really what I focused on. So if you can go to the next slide.
Sure.
I worked on creating a design for the scales of my robotic snake that mimic those frictional properties that you see in real snakes. And after testing several designs and comparing them to work done by a previous study, I found that my design significantly improved on those frictional properties. And as you can see here, I created a prototype of my design that uses those kind of scales. The design I ended up choosing uses these little ball bearings, which you probably won't be able to see at this distance, but I can pass this around later. And these let the scale move really smoothly as it goes forward, like in a real snake. But then this sharp back edge, which you can see here, catches on the ground, just like in a real snake. So the real aim of this design in its final version is to deliver food and water to survivors trapped in rubble. And that's because, based on speaking to several search and rescue experts, these are the supplies that survivors need in order to continue surviving until search and rescue crews can actually safely access them. Yeah, that's really my project.
Wow. Okay. Well, Nichelle, that puts to shame my chlorine project in like 10th grade. You've got a full-on snake. First of all, congratulations. This is so impressive. So impressive that you came up with this idea. I think it's really important that to note we have 3 different, we've got DECA, we've got science fair, we've got speech and debate, all incredible students who you put so much into this, and you have so many opportunities up at the high school, and you take advantage of all of them. And that's a testament to you. It's a testament to our advisors, our coaches that spend time. For you to be able to create a project like this and spend so much time and get as far as you did, so impressive. How did you decide to go with this project? Like, what spurred this as a, like, hey, I think this sounds like a really good science fair project? Because this is very impressive just from the 3 minutes that you just gave us.
Yeah, so I really started my brainstorming through mind maps, like I'm sure a lot of people do when they're brainstorming things. But the thing is, I'm really interested in robotics as a whole, so I wanted to find an issue that robotics could truly be helpful in. So I looked at a lot of disaster relief kind of things, and even before I started brainstorming for this project for the past couple of years, I've been seeing a lot of images from the earthquakes, like the ones in Turkey and Syria, and then actually, probably about a week before my regional science fair, I think it was, there was another earthquake in Myanmar. So it's really an issue that's very relevant to me and that I've seen quite a bit of in the news, and it's just something I was really passionate about helping alleviate.
Amazing. I'm sitting here not understanding what Ms. Boucher read at all, but with you explaining it, and I have a visceral fear of snakes. I literally go outside and I'll look on the deck to see if there's one before I go out into the yard, but now I think I appreciate them a little more, thinking about like how you looked at the animal and then got into how it would work for disaster relief. I think it's just amazing, and you're just a rising junior. You're young, and I loved watching your family's face. You couldn't see them, but their big smiles and how proud they are of you. Congratulations. So impressive for someone so young. You're going to do big things.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. Definitely agree with the sentiments of my colleagues. Just super impressive. Probably an obvious question. You're on the robotics team?
I actually am not.
Wow. Okay. Because I was thinking
He's
about.
too busy.
Yeah. Well, obviously. No, I was just thinking about the common thread of like what inspired you to take this up. Yeah, and I mean you explained kind of the thought behind it, but just super impressive and real world problems here that we're trying to solve. So congratulations on your success. Again, it is a tribute to not only your passion for this, but also, your teachers and the support staff that you have and your family as well. So very impressed. Thank you for walking us through this. This is excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah, totally agree. That's very impressive. Thank you for your mentor and for your hard work. My quick question is do we have prior art on this? Can we patent it?
Yeah, so actually at the international fair, which took place sometime in mid-May, I spoke to some people from the patent office. There is quite a process that you need to go through, as one might assume. I'm actually heading to Mass Academy next year, and WPI has a program where you can apply for provisional patents. So I'm thinking I might go through that process for this work.
Yeah, because this is very early stage, but to protect the IP once it's functional. So yeah, provisional is a good right place to go. But yeah, this it has a lot of potential. The usage is, and then it has multiple applications too, not just the rescue and the earthquake scenario, but it might have several other cross-functional utility patenting around it, functionality around it. So I would say I would see if you can protect it before someone copies it.
Congratulations, it's very impressive, and you did an excellent job presenting as well, in addition to your wonderful design and all the science. You did a great job selling it to all of us as well, so thank you very much for coming tonight, and best wishes at Mass Academy next year.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank Michelle, congratulations, echo everything the school committee has said. Excuse me, just an example of taking things that you're learning in your classes and in your own initiative, in your own self-study to create such an innovative invention, and we can see why it won the grand prize, for sure. And certainly best wishes. We're sad to have you lose you, but for those watching, Mass Academy of Math and Science, which is located at WPI, is actually a unique state-funded high school. It's one of the finest STEM high schools in the nation. And we've had a number of Shrewsbury students who have attended over the years, and they are able, if there's something that Mass Academy does not have, by state law, students are eligible to continue those programs at Shrewsbury High School, hence our speech and debate champion who attends Mass Academy. My guess is they do compete in the science fair, so we won't be able to compete for us anymore in the science fair, unfortunately, but maybe in something else. We're really proud of you and congratulate you. One thing that occurs to me, because I know when Mr. Basilio, who's here this evening to witness all these outstanding high school students, communicated this to the school community, that part of the award of the Sanofi Grand Prize was to award a $5,000 grant to our high school science department. And it occurs to me, this being our last meeting of the year, I should have put this on the agenda, but with the permission of the chair, if you don't mind taking a vote to accept that $5,000 grant so that we can, Mr. Rascosi and his team can utilize that. But we appreciate that Michelle's success is going to be providing some opportunities to make some improvements to our science program as well. But congratulations, and if you don't mind making that vote, and then we can bring people up for certificates and do some photos.
May I have a motion to accept the $5,000 grant through the science fair?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, easy vote to take, I think. So at this time, if we could have our students come up and receive a certificate, and then after that, they and their coaches come up and do some photos with the school committee, and we'll wrap up. And while they do that, how about a round of applause for these outstanding students?
Congratulations. Great job. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Outstanding job. All right. So, annual, this is yours. Congratulations. And can you get that to Mr. A for Griffin, please? And congratulations. Well done. And congratulations. Well done. All right, so maybe if the school committee can get in front of the desk here, and then why don't we have Nuha come up first, along with Mr. Hopkins? Perfect. All right, how about our DECA students? Coach? Michelle and Mr. Wiskowski. Okay, how about another round of applause for
Our next scheduled appointment is an acceptance of gifts. Per school committee policy 911, our gifts of $5,000 or more must be formally accepted by the school committee. There are 3 gifts being presented for approval tonight. And Jane, do you want to go in a certain order?
Yes,
She has a description of each one.
Okay.
yeah, I have a
great.
brief description
Okay,
of each
fantastic.
one, and we'll end with wind waste.
Sure.
Done. So the 3 gifts being presented to school committee approval, for school committee approval tonight, are greatly appreciated. The first is an anonymous $10,000 donation to the Colonial Fund to support innovation, including the purchase of an anatomage table for use in biology, biomedical, and anatomy classes. The purchase of the anatomage table supports student learning by providing a highly engaging and accessible way to study the human body. Anatomage tables are interactive, digital anatomy dissection tools that offer a 3D interactive experience for students. Students can also visualize the effects of diseases or age on the body. The large touchscreen format of the tables encourages collaboration among students, fostering teamwork and active participation. So we're very grateful to our anonymous donor who donated the $10,000, in addition to those who donate to the Colonial Fund, as Colonial Funds funded the remaining costs for the anatomage table that is presently at Shrewsbury High School and receiving great attention from teachers, and students are starting to use it. So again, so appreciative. The second donation tonight is a donation of $8,000 from Lexus of Northborough to assist with startup costs to add the sport of boys volleyball as an interscholastic high school sport at Shrewsbury High School beginning in the spring of 2026. Thank you to Mitch Cook, who was unable to join us tonight. Mitch is the president of Lexus of Northborough. And as you know, Lexus of Northborough provided significant support during the summer 2023 to support the addition of girls soccer and boys soccer to the athletics program at Oak Middle School. Lexus of Northborough was a presenting sponsor for the first anniversary celebration of Maple and Maine, presented by RISE. And Mitch also offered a paid internship opportunity this year to a Shrewsbury High School student who is very interested in the auto industry. So the donation of time and money and effort, all of those are greatly appreciated. And finally, a donation of $35,000 from Wind Waste Innovations to the Colonial Fund to advance career technical education experiences for Shrewsbury Public Schools students, including our RISE students. Thank you to Dawn Musial, who is joining me tonight, Director of Ash Monofills at Wind Waste Innovations, for consistently supporting our students and school communities by providing resources, again, time, financial, etc., that enable us to provide students with opportunities to explore their interests and pursue their school, career, and life goals. Wind Waste Innovations actively engages with the communities they serve, including Shrewsbury, supporting local initiatives and promoting environmental awareness. On April 30th, Dawn again hosted, I'm not sure how many years in a row, but 45 advanced placement environmental science students and SHS science and engineering teacher John Brocky at Wind Waste Innovations Today, Mr. Brocky shared with me that students absolutely love the field trip, and Don is a wonderful host. We are so fortunate that he makes it easy to coordinate, and it is so informative for our students. So the donations received this evening provide opportunities for students to engage in a new team sport opportunity and again, explore workforce opportunities, career interests, and post-secondary education. So we're very grateful to them. And I'll turn it over to you, Don.
Sure, just a couple quick words. Thank you for having me here tonight. I really appreciate the invitation. Listening to the students earlier, I was saying to Dr. Lazat, like, I never got to do anything that cool in high school. And it's amazing, like, to turn out, you know, we did civil engineering and business, and to see where these kids are starting out. I say kids, but, you know, young adults, students starting out, they have such a head start into the world. So wonderful to see that. So these funds that we've been providing, I think this is the third year of these donations.
Yes.
So we're over $100,000 now. The origin of that is actually through our agreement with the town of Shrewsbury. We've been operating the Shrewsbury Monofill for 40 years now. I've been involved with the site for about 30 years. But several years ago, we, with the town of Shrewsbury as a partner, we installed a solar farm on top of an old portion of the site. So we had some financial benefits from that as Wind Waste Innovations, formerly Wheelabrator. And so once those financial benefits for us kicked in, I got a call from the town manager, from Kevin, and said, hey, come on, let's talk about these benefits that we're getting out of this, and what can we do different with those benefits here in the town of Shrewsbury. And so it didn't take a lot of convincing. And then former town employee and former Selco director Mike Hale was instrumental in that as well too, and introduced me to Dr. Lazat and said, okay, let's get together and figure out something to do, locally that has a good bang for a larger donation each year. And so that's how we met, and and the work that Jane does with the outreach to businesses. Placing students with internships, like work study things, I was just so impressed with at the high school level. And it's just a pleasure for us as Wind Waste in town to be able to support something like that. So thank you for allowing us to do that, I guess.
You're very welcome, anytime. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I know it's multiple years of this, and we're happy to take it, for sure. And I know for Dr. Lazat, I think this is a year that we've had so many gifts coming through. I think it's one of the most I've ever seen, and that's due to all the hard work and the partnerships that we're forming with businesses that make it, really a benefit for our students. So thank you very much. And these are the things we couldn't do within our appropriated budget, and it's extremely beneficial not only to our students but to our taxpayers. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much for your partnership and for all the generous donations that were referenced, Dr. Lazat. It's been an outstanding year for career and technical education, and what we set out to do a couple years ago when we lost access to Assabet. We wanted to find ways to bring more career and technical education opportunities into the classroom, and we've done that so many times over this year, including this very generous donation. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you for the very generous donation. You mentioned before about how impressive our students are, and they are, and a lot of the times they're given these opportunities because of donations that are made possible through you and other businesses that do this, because it gives them the opportunity, whether it's playing sports or it's bringing in a science table, or whether it's just giving them an opportunity to try out something with career technical. These opportunities are made possible through very generous donations that, again, when we're looking at a budget that we don't necessarily have that money to wiggle, we wish we did, but this allows us to do these special things for them. So thank you very much.
And once again, thank you very much. I think, for your continuous support on helping our students to explore, and also not only with this donation, but also helping them to have the field trip, career exploration, and all those things. That means that education and that experience will stay with the students for a long time. So thank you for all that help. And I also want to thank all the rest of the donations. I know, I don't want to pronounce that table, but I know it's been on the list for so long. I think I'm very happy to see that. and now it's there. The students can use it and then get experience on the anatomy of and in multiple ways and explore more. So I'm very happy to see that. And with Lexus Northborough, I think that's a wonderful thing. This is sports. So I think with the donations, it goes cross-functional, cross departments. It's very wonderful. It's not focusing on one specific aspect, but it's touching every aspect that our students will benefit every day, and every donation is well worth spent because the outcomes you just witnessed from our students, the successful students. So thank you. Thanks for supporting.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being here tonight. In addition to the financial support, thank you for also hosting our students on field trips and
That's fun.
We appreciate that as well. And thank you to Dr. Lazat for making all these opportunities possible this year. It's been a lot this year, and we're very grateful for all the support that you've been able to obtain from the community in all various ways. So thank you very much. Dr. Sawyer.
Also want to thank Dr. Lazat for all the work to make these connections. When we created this position a number of years ago, we envisioned just building stronger and stronger partnerships across a variety and networking across businesses, not only for philanthropic donations, but to build this network so our students could access different kinds of experiences. And with the focus on career technical education the last few years, it's really paid off great dividends for us. Certainly grateful to our anonymous donor. I think this is the third time that a donor has donated $10,000 to the Colonial Fund, to Lexus of Northborough and Mr. Cook for their support that Dr. Lazat mentioned, and certainly to Mr. Musil, where we really appreciate everything that Win Waste is doing for our school district, and the generosity. We'll put it to very good use as we continue to expand opportunities for our students with different aspects of career technical education. So I certainly recommend that the school committee vote to accept these very generous gifts, and we will certainly put them to good use.
So 3 different votes we'll take. Can I have a motion that the school committee vote to accept an anonymous gift of $10,000 to the Colonial Fund?
So moved. Second? So moved. So moved.
All those in favor shall signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. The motion passes unanimously. The next motion, that the school committee vote to accept a gift of $8,000 from Lexus of Northborough to assist with startup costs to add the sport of boys volleyball as an interscholastic high school sport in the spring of 2026. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Next motion, that the school committee vote to accept a gift of $35,000 from Win Waste Innovations to the Colonial Fund to advance career technical education experiences for Shrewsbury Public School students, including RISE.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much.
Thank you.
I don't have to tear this up now. We're good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda tonight is an update on the RISE program in Maple and Maine. Ms. Belcito will present an update on the RISE Reaching Independence Through Supported Employment Program, and on Maple and Maine, the retail business and learning space, presented by RISE.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure for me to come and talk about RISE in Maple and Maine. First and foremost, it's been another amazing year for Reaching Independence Through Supported Employment and Maple and Maine. And I would be remiss if I did not start off by thanking the entire RISE team. So Christine Pellerin, our 18 to 22 coordinator, Jen Tabor, the retail manager, Erin Moscosi, special education teacher, Christy Lesperon, special education teacher, all of our job coaches, and the service providers that also support the program. Without this team, the program in retail space simply would not be operating or possible. It's an honor for me to talk about their work. So tonight we're going to talk about a little bit of each part of the program and the business. The program overview, as you know, is a post-secondary program for our students aged 18 to 22 who, through the team process, qualify for additional learning opportunities following their high school experience. As you know, we're located at 557 Main Street. The focus of our program is independence, life skills, employment, and community integration. Current staffing right now, as you know, we have 1 coordinator, retail manager, 2 special education teachers, and 8 job coaches. And here they are at the beginning of the school year. Given what we know about our current students and their needs, we're projecting the following enrollment for the next 4 years. Keep in mind that students may enter the program at age 18 and stay, if appropriate, up till age 22. Students will be aging into the program, exiting the program, and remaining in the program during the course of these 4 years. Pictured here, we have 2 of our students that have recently graduated. What's special about that time when they turn 22 or choose to exit the program, the student chooses how they would like to be celebrated. The celebrations were wonderful. Dr. Sawyer was able to come, award 1 high school diploma, 1 certificate of attainment. They choose the color, they choose what kind of snacks they celebrate with, and students, it's been amazing. Their classmates stand up, give a speech, talk to them about their experience with them in the program, and well wishes for the future. Teachers speak. It's actually, it's a wonderful opportunity for the students to really be celebrated in their accomplishments. Up top, you'll see that is actually the shirt. Thank you. You helped sponsor. That was for the year anniversary celebration that was held, and the sponsors that helped us. And as you see, in the next couple of years, we do see projected increase in enrollment. Transportation. Right now, we have 4 vans from AA Transportation for our morning and afternoon transport. We have 2 district-owned vans for program activities. And then we have, it's on the lot, it's actually, I think, being right now, where that's a potential design from the Shrewsbury Federal Credit Union. As you know, their very large donation is allowing us to get a new wheelchair accessible van that will allow us to continue with activities, internships, and you'll see further in presentation coming soon what it will be used for. We have over 20 internships and job opportunities. Some of their students have paid employment with places like Kitchen Sink Candle, Dogtopia, Component Sources International Group. There are new internships this year that Christine Pellerin and the team fostered through the YMCA, Habitat for Humanity, St. Anne's Food Pantry. So, the retail store, for those people that don't know or anybody that hasn't come, you should definitely stop in. The grand opening, as you know, is November 3rd of 2023. We have a variety of different products, candy, snacks, Shrewsbury merchandise that actually comes from our students and or vendors, candles, soap, greeting cards, many seasonal items. We really think about this place as a learning lab for our students. Customer service skills, inventory management, cashier training, lots around soft skills development. There have been a number of special events this year, including things like a winter pop-up during school vacations. They have daily activities for people to come in and enjoy. And then as of late, we had a very large showing for James B. Jones, who is an individual that's on the Netflix hit show Love on the Spectrum. We did not anticipate the number of people that would show up to have a meet and greet with James. It was great. He was also at our high school. When Dr. Sawyer calls your phone early in the morning and says, "Have you heard how many likes are on Instagram?" You know you better listen. I did not know that there were over 11,000 likes when he announced that he was coming. So I appreciated the support from the Shrewsbury Police Department in helping us with the traffic that day. So financially, we know that the total cost of the program is just over $1.2 million. We know that when we look at the cost saving versus if our students went to an out-of-district placement where they prior went to Assabet Valley Collaborative, We know that if we use that as a base of what the tuition and transportation cost would be, we've estimated that the cost savings right now is at around $288,000. We especially like that the students are in district. So although it's a cost savings first and foremost, the students' needs are always our first priority. Funding sources, as you know, are from IDEA, our 240 grant, the appropriated district budget, and then also our retail store revenue. So this year, our retail store performance has yielded about $47,784.39. Major vendors are Spectrum Enterprises, Frank DeMaria, Amazon, where that allows us to, or Jen, to order a lot of products that the students are able to use in making and creating different things that they sell. Kitchen Sink Candle Company and Christian Hill Farm Soap. And the self-sustaining inventory management is something that is ongoing. The students work very hard to make sure that they're packaging the candy, making sure there are labels on everything, pricing, tagging, the list goes on and on. There's also, as you know, a large educational component which is attached to the retail store. We have small group instruction, technology-rich learning experiences, hands-on training, real-world skill application, and then, of course, there's progress monitoring and data collection that the teachers and the job coaches assist with. Really, truly core skills. One of the students, Gotham, sent me this photo because he thought it was just a happy example of all the things they're learning, and he's like, and we were jumping that day. I said, of course we'll use the photo. Employment readiness, functional academics, community safety, health and relationships, independent and leisure skills. So the community has been absolutely amazing. We have total donations from 2023 to 2025. Over $200,000 have not only the retail space, but our program has benefited from. We have major support this year from the Shrewsbury Federal Credit Union of $100,000. We also have some in-kind donations where we have dance lessons at the Hanover Theater and pickleball sessions at the YMCA, which were really special, and whoever those donors are, we really appreciate, and the students have enjoyed and look forward to more lessons at both Hanover and the YMCA next year. So how our students are paid while they work at Maple and Maine. It's a state-funded employment program through the Blackstone Valley Hub, which is called YouthWorks. This partnership is in its second year with us. The students can work up to 300 hours annually. They actually have an hourly wage of $17.25 an hour. This continued support can actually go beyond age 22 now that they're partners with the Blackstone Valley Hub, and that also offers career development opportunities. So a great partnership with the Hub that continues and should continue into next year as well. Our facility is over 3,636 square feet. It's split between the educational space and the retail space. We have our 5-year lease agreement with the Charteroni Properties. We have student involvement in the daily maintenance inside and outside. And then we do have professional custodial support two times a week, and I should have added snow removal as well. The program, the impact we continue to see as being a cost-effective alternative to out-of-district placements, certainly enhance community integration for all of our students, real-world skill development, sustainable business model, and growing community partnerships. Here you have the students RISE students at the top during Community Reading Day at Floral Street School. And then also below, a partnership this year that's been fostered with Worcester State University. They had their own unified basketball game, which was a very happy and popular event for both Worcester State and our students. So our future outlook looks great. continued enrollment growth, expanding our community partnerships, sustaining our funding model, enhance transportation capacity, and increase employment opportunities, which this is the logo of what is coming very soon, which is going to be called Chilled by Maple and Maine. We'll have an ice cream cart that our new wheelchair accessible van, the ice cream cart will actually fit, and it will also have an umbrella so they can take it to events, and they will be at things like possibly in the parking lot of the Shrewsbury Federal Credit Union. They might be at new teacher orientation is another thought. The fall festival that the Shrewsbury town puts on, they have a number of different ideas. So that is next and upcoming. I believe also the kids are really excited about picking what kind of ice cream will be sold. It will be individually wrapped, and we're really excited to see the next part of this business. When it's not in use at events, it will be inside the store at Maple and Maine, so you can get ice cream year round. And that is it. I'm sorry if I spoke really fast tonight.
Thank you, Meg, because I think, we look at student achievement. We just had a lot of students up here, and this shows you that we have achievement across all levels, all students. And this is really just a gem of our community. People talk about it, that, oh, have you been? Do you see what they have in the store? So, we're looking at, that's kind of in the front, but it's that educational program behind the scenes and the deliverables that we're providing to students in district. And then having this, through this YouthWorks partnership, where students can have paid jobs that will extend after they age out of this program and have career development opportunities. So we have student achievement across all levels, and I think we have you to thank for bringing this forward. When we were thinking, like, what is this? What will it be? What will the costs be? Like, it's very cost efficient, and I think that's something as a school committee we do have to look at. But the services that are being provided, the deliverables to the students certainly outweigh any cost. But for anybody who wants to look, we have a much longer report that you provided. It'll be on our website to look at all of these components and look at the costs and how this is saving our district money. But I think the output is better than it would be in another situation. So always great news. Thank you. And yes, everybody has to go to the store. And we had the opportunity. Sorry, John, we didn't invite you. And we did candle making. And, it's just like fun things to do within the community, and the students are great. Anytime you ever go in there, the students are just amazing. So thank you for everything you and your team do.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to echo those sentiments. And my wife and daughter actually did go to that the candle making event. I love the way the community's embraced Maple and Maine, and just such a good job there. And it's really giving our students these real life skills. And I also like the concept that you've come up with Chilled. I think it almost brings it back to their roots, right? I think they had like a coffee cart in the high school. That's kind of how I remember hearing it started, but like on such a much larger level, not only, kind of going to town events, but I mean, I know there's crowds of middle schoolers that walk past Maple and Maine, and I can see you just hanging out in your parking lot there and serving the students. So just some great opportunities, great partnerships with local businesses, and very generous local businesses as well. We really appreciate that. So thank you for all that you're doing, and for all that the RISE team is doing as well. So.
I think it's no surprise how much we love RISE and Maple and Maine. And when Ms. Heffernan came off of the school committee, the first thought was how can Maple and Maine help us? And they were so amazing. And also, I'm a big fan of how much community involvement they're doing. And, Sandy and I both wanted to go see James when he came to the program, and she went on the earlier side, and I was going to come on the later side. And the amount of people who were there was so amazing. I'm glad that the community, and it was communities outside of Shrewsbury that came too, but I think that those are great opportunities, one, for our community to be involved in this program, but two, I think those are great opportunities for our students too. I think that shows them, it serves as a good example for them, and they can model themselves over people who come and visit and talk to them, and I think those are great. And I'm so excited about the Chilled ice cream that's coming. The other thing too is usually at the end of the summer, the elementary principals will have popsicles with a principal. That might be a good opportunity to have them go. So I would connect with the PTOs on that. But I love Rise. I'm so excited for what the future is, and I'm glad that we have more and more students that are joining, and that we're just going to get bigger and bigger, and there'll be more special things that come about.
Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. I think this is wonderful. I think it became a center of the town, the key attraction. So we commit to go to the store whenever we want to. We have guests or anything. So this is a gem for our town for sure. And the students are wonderful. I think we saw some of the videos they sent us with the donation from the bank. The chilled donation. So they're very excited with all the programs and the learnings they're getting in. I think this is wonderful. Definitely your participation in bringing in all the resources and making sure that it is enabling the education and experience at the same time for the students that are in need. So Mike, I have one quick question related to the total cost and out of town, like a cost saving analysis here. So that does this include the cost of running the store itself, apart from rest of the things like bringing in the supplies and all the other stuff? Does this number total cost of the program includes all of those inventory, so to speak, like the inventory costs and everything, or it just separate store inventory expenses are separate, and then that's so how do we do this?
Yeah. So that the number that when we talked about the cost savings would be more about if those particular students were not in district with us. So it's thinking about the tuition cost and the transportation cost if they were not to be in district. The store is separate.
Okay. I have a couple other questions, but maybe I can take it offline. So,
Okay.
This is really great. I see the enthusiasm and also increasing enrollment also over the years. So, in that aspect, do we still have enough space if we get to that projected numbers?
Yeah. That is a good question. Yes, we do believe we have space. We're looking at students as young as like 7th and 8th grade, and potentially would they be included in it. So we are looking over the years. We have the 4-year projection right now. So we do believe we'll be okay. You always have to think about the students that are going to age out, and they might age out at different times. Like, for example, next year we'll have actually twins that will age out in March. We have actually a student, one of our first students will age out in the fall. So it's always kind of evolving, and right now I think we're doing just fine because they're not always necessarily in the building all at the same time. Christine and the team, when they have internships or activities outside of the building, so there could be a small group there, but they could also be a large group in various places in their different internships. They do sometimes obviously have lunch or special Friday afternoons. You can stop by anytime you want, and they like a good dance party on a Friday afternoon. So, there are times when they're all there together, but it should be in and out. And, some are taking courses at Worcester State. And so there's the whole idea that they're not all in the building all at the same time. So we should be okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for the report, and thank you to the whole RISE team for all of the amazing work that you all do. It's incredible. I just wanted to note for the folks at home, the employment opportunities that you put in our book. It's just amazing. I didn't know the breadth of all of the different opportunities that the students have to pursue different internships outside of, even, the RISE program itself, but going outside, just a lot of great community partnerships there that they're all able to take advantage of, which is wonderful. But thank you very much for the report. It's extremely helpful. Dr. Sawyer.
Thank you. I first want to thank Ms. Belcito for her vision and leadership a number of years ago noting that we were going to need to provide the services to students age 18 to 22 at a much higher volume, which was going to be a considerable expense just by the nature of that program if we continue to send them out of district. But first and foremost, wanted to create a best practices program that would be centered in the student's own community. I can't imagine it being more successful than it has been. Not only does that $288,000 in savings allow us to do other things with those funds that we're supporting in terms of our program across the district, but it's provided an opportunity for these students to be literally at the center of our community. And I think it bears mentioning that it was not too many generations ago, prior to the Individuals with Disabilities Act in the 1970s, when these young people would not only be marginalized, but in many cases would be institutionalized. And to think that our students who are being celebrated and thriving in workplaces throughout our community, being celebrated by local businesses like Shrewsbury Federal Credit Union with their great donation and all the different support, including the school committee that's been provided, that is just a remarkable change in society that I think we can all be proud of. And thank you to Ms. Belcito, her team, for making it a reality. Patrick Collins, our previous assistant superintendent for finance and operations, who was key at getting things off the ground. Mr. Girardi's continued support there. Mr. Collins for helping us get
Exactly.
Mr. Jones as well.
He's a huge fan of James
He facilitated
Jones.
that as well. So, but it's really it's among the things that I cannot take credit, but I will certainly through my role celebrate as one of the sort of highlights of my entire time in Shrewsbury. This is just a wonderful success story, and I'm incredibly grateful. So thank you for the report, and thank you to everybody involved.
Thank you. I truly appreciate all the support, and especially also Dr. Sawyer and the central office team. I would, Jane, Dr. Lazat's been amazing, and you're talking about the different partnerships earlier and donations, and it's been a huge support for us to have those resources available to the program and in the store. So very grateful for central office colleagues and all of you. So thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you. The next item on our agenda is a report on the food service program. We will also take a vote tonight on meal rates. Mr. Girardi and Ms. Nichols will present a report on the food service department that includes information on program offerings, staffing, meal pricing, and student participation, all in the context that the Massachusetts state government approved universal no-cost breakfast and lunch for all students permanently. Additionally, the district has worked with a food service consultant to learn more ways to improve our program. Mr. Girardi, if you'd like to take it from here.
Thank you. Just pull up our presentation here. All right, thank you. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Nichols as she will walk us through this presentation here, and just thank her and her team for some really terrific work as always as they're providing 6,000 students with meals, and we'll get into kind of the volume of meals that we are now putting out following the Universal Meals Program. It's quite an undertaking, and she's a wonderful leader of that team in doing so. So we'll get started here.
So currently we offer breakfast and lunch for kindergarten through 12th grade. Next year we'll be serving 30 pre-K students, offering them breakfast and lunch at Beale. Currently we offer breakfast and lunch to the RISE program, and we're able to actually provide hot lunches for the first time this year. We do vending and catering for the district. Our staff consists of myself, one full-time food service director, a 37.5-hour administrative assistant. We have 51 employees, 45 are full-time, 6 are part-time. Because of the increased participation with meals, it's been quite a shift. We used to have a lot more part-time employees and very few full-time. but that's totally reversed. This year, we increased our staff by 4 full-time employees, and that included adding a full-time cook at Beal. We negotiated a union contract this year that you'll be hopefully approving tonight. We made significant hourly rate increases to increase staff retention and to enable us to better compete in the market. This year, we completed all our USDA required training, plus required training by the Board of Health, and other trainings that we do just because we do them. Minimally, it's 12 hours of training for me, 10 hours for the managers, 6 hours for staff over 20 hours, and 4 hours for staff working under 20 hours. Starting next year, we've bought into a program called FIG K12. It's a new training program that's going to broaden all our training opportunities, and it's a great tracking program for our employees. You're skipping that, correct? A little bit on the USDA and DESE update. There's one meal pattern change that will occur next year. Added sugars must be less than 10% of total calories served for each meal. Starting in school year 2028, sodium limits will be drastically reduced. This past year, we were awarded the Northeast Food for School grant. We were given $36,000 to spend. Most of our purchases took place through the Worcester Food Hub, but we were able to buy from farmers within a 100-mile radius. So we had some really nice, mostly at the high school, produce, cheeses, yogurts. We were anticipating $100,000 for the year 26 and 27, and those funds were all canceled, which is unfortunate. We were approved for a CECAP grant for Sherwood Middle Schools. The grant stands for Creating and Executing Culinary Advancement Plan. The goal of the grant is to develop skills and readiness for more scratch cooking. We had to choose a goal for Sherwood Cafeteria, and the goal we chose was to incorporate culturally relevant options in the menu. So on August 26th, we'll be doing a live training at Sherwood with the staff, and we're doing a training in Back to Basics Indian Fare and live setting culinary Indian fare. And a follow-up to that, we will have 12 days of a chef on site to continue to work with the staff promoting those scratch cooking skills, particularly in Indian fare. Lunch pricing, the USDA requires that the average paid lunch price be equal or greater to the federal reimbursement rate. The rate this year was $4.57, so our lunch pricing this year was in compliance with that. Students get 1 free lunch per day as long as they take a reimbursable meal. Students have to take 3 out of 5 components: milk, grain, protein, fruit, and vegetable. 1 component has to be a fruit or vegetable to qualify for a reimbursable free meal. Students are only charged for a meal if they take a second meal or they choose to take a non-reimbursable meal. So if they only took 2 components, the student would be charged. So I'm proposing this year that the school committee allow the food service department to increase the price of a school meal to be in compliance with a free federal reimbursement rate without school committee approval. The rates typically don't come out until July, sometimes late July. So I'd like to start the school year with the new pricing. Commodities, entitlement, we got $821,000 this year in commodity entitlement dollars. And that entitlement funding is based on the number of meals we served the prior year. times a determined entitlement amount. For this current year, that entitlement amount was 45 cents. So we took our entitlement dollars this year and committed the max to the Department of Defense Fresh Fruit and Produce program, which is great. I mean, we spend most of those funds 2/3 of the way into the year, but it really enables us to have a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables. We diverted $26,280 to the diversion program. I was able to purchase 4,500 pounds of beef and 9,000 pounds of chicken, and was used to process meatballs, taco meat, 100% white Tyson chicken products, and we're able to buy those products from our commercial vendors. They credit the pounds, and we get what's called net off invoice, so it reduces the commercial price of food. And what's great is commodities come in a lump sum once a month. When we're ordering from a commercial vendor, we can get these products twice a week, so they require less storage. The rest of our funding went into what is called brown box. They're cases of foods, so we bought, canned fruits, frozen fruits, cheeses, meats, and they help supplement our program. Commodity dollars typically account for about 15% of food costs. We just found out that DESE had $6 million cut in commodity funding. So I only know the impact right now to our brown box. We're going to lose about 2,067 cases of food. We don't know the cuts yet to the DoD program or to our diversion program. I mean, we've been warned they're coming. I don't know what's going to happen to those funds yet. So we've seen a significant increase in participation due to universal free meals. Prior to free meals, universal free meals, our breakfast participation was only 1% to 2% in the district, very low. And lunch was about 45% to 50% of the students across the board. With the introduction of universal free meal participation, breakfast is about 19% at the elementary level, 18% at the middle schools, and 6% at the high school. Lunch is 64% at elementary schools, 72% at middle, and 73% at high school. On a pizza day, we serve almost 100% of our students. Menus, we really tried to diversify our menus this year and add a lot more vegetarian options. So minimally, we serve 2 options at the elementary school. Typically, it's a lot more, and it includes at least one vegetarian option daily. At the middle schools, we have minimally 3 options, including a vegetarian option. At the high school, minimally 6 options, and 4 to 5 match the non-vegetarian option, and we are able to match with like a plant-based option. Lunches include grains, milks, proteins, vegetables, and fruit daily, and our salads and fruit bars are available to the students with every meal. Through April, the end of April, we served 570,116 lunches across the district, which is about an average of 3,852 meals a day. This was a picture of the serving line at Beale and the salad bar at Sherwood. Financials. In 2024, our starting balance, a revolving account balance, was $1,476,376. This past school year, our revolving account balance started at $2,209,467. I anticipate a profit this year of $58,231. Which means I'm projecting our beginning balance at July 1 will be $2,267,698. So financially, we're very healthy. The revolving account balance cannot be greater than 3 months operating expense, so we have to have a plan to not carry funds over that amount. So based on our numbers this year, our revolving account cannot exceed $1,248,136. So we're going to use our surplus funds to continue to replace aging equipment and also to offset the 3 years of labor increases for our staff. This year, we hired Brigade, a consulting firm, to come in and do an assessment of our program. We asked them to concentrate on our ability to do more scratch cooking and diverse meals. So Brigade is comprised of a group of chefs who use their culinary expertise to help schools meet different culinary and cooking goals. They came on site April 14th through 16th, visited every school. Chef Ryan Kennedy will be presenting his findings and suggestions at a September school committee meeting. In conclusion, our goal is to incorporate suggestions from Brigade, increase our menu diversity, and continue to replace aging and inefficient equipment. Staffing continues to be a challenge. Feeding more students with not enough refrigeration, freezer space, storage space is tough. And just the space we have in serving lines in the cafeteria areas, it's pretty challenging for our staff.
Yeah, and I like to think these conclusions align well with our strategic priorities around food services, particularly around the menu diversity piece and more scratch cooking with more healthy options for students to be able to choose. And we're also looking at sustainable options as we move through the years. I know at town meeting the question came up around the types of trays that we use, and I did provide a separate memo this evening that does speak to the compostable trays that we use, some of the work that we've done looking at options moving forward around are those compostable trays the correct trays to be using moving forward, and if we are able to compost them in a financially responsible and sustainable way. And also looking into other options out there. We saw in the newspaper there's a company out there called Redish, and they are doing where you would purchase a tray, they collect them, they wash them, they return them in such like a linen type fashion. And we're looking at what the cost associated with those types of programs are, which right now is a little bit more expensive than what we are able to manage. But again, we are looking for those sustainable options as we move into the future, as they do become more financially viable for our district, and different relationships we can have with our town members in our town departments, as we think into the future of both food services and food waste.
Thank you. I'm excited about scratch cooking, especially starting with Indian food. So, so are you anticipating to expand that to other cuisines? Is that the plan with the scratch cook?
The reason we picked Indian specifically, it's probably the hardest food for us to duplicate, because currently there's Asian foods that we can buy, Mexican foods, but we got the list of ingredients needed to cook Indian foods, and it's quite a list of spices, foods that are harder for us to access and really take skill. It's a lot easier to duplicate like Tex-Mex foods, and so yeah, we will. We're hoping to be able to do more scratch cooking of different ethnic groups.
Wonderful.
Sure.
So with the financials, the profit and loss for this school year is around 773,000, whereas the projected one for next school is projected profit loss is 58,000.
No, profit.
So profit,
Oh,
yeah.
profit.
So is there's a significant decrease, right? So is that tied to some aspects of the funding, or is it a?
Food costs have gone up, labor. We're also trying to spend down, we had to spend down our revolving account. So we've spent a lot of money on equipment repair. If we didn't have to spend that amount down, we would have made more money. So it was an intentional spending of funds.
And that's to remain within the 3-month surplus that we are required to by the state.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for your report. And, I think back to when we didn't have these surpluses and we were talking, so this new program certainly helps feed all students, but it also, space-wise, I'm thinking, looking at the number we're feeding and not enough refrigeration, freezer space. You're saying, we can order every 2 weeks because we really don't have enough space. Particularly at the high school, when we're talking about we're looking at overcrowding there, we're looking at a potential addition. Can you speak to the amount of students coming in and the serving lines and the ability to have space just for cooking for the staff and for food to be kept? Can you speak to what's going on at the high school?
It's challenging. I mean, right now we have to dedicate staff at the entryway. We only allow so many students in because it's just packed. So, I mean, that by limiting the number of kids that can come into the serving area, they have less time to eat.
Right.
Our storage rooms are just jam-packed.
Yeah, so it's something that with the number of students, we're not able to process through in a timely manner for them to, how long is lunch? 20, 25 minutes? It's not a long.
I think it's 22 from the
Yeah.
minute the bell rings.
So they don't have a lot of time, and I know way back when my kids were there and it was crowded, they were saying, we don't, I didn't eat today, I couldn't get there or something. So I'm thinking, as we look at this new project going forward, it's just another area we really need to pay attention to be providing food to students, but also working conditions for staff and food storage for all of that. And I'm glad we're looking at came up at town meeting, looking at the trays and that question. But if I remember correctly, when we did look last time, we talked about the amount of water usage for those trays. At that time, we were taking in-house, but this is something. So I think there's always that slippery slope with whatever the best option will be. So it'll be really interesting to see how this goes forward, but thank you for looking at that.
This, the third-party options are interesting. They have a massive washer that can wash 75,000 trays at once. So the volume that they can do, I'm assuming that there's some savings with resources like water and electricity that makes it more viable.
With that volume.
Right, with that volume.
Right.
And the other thing is we're really excited about the feedback we'll get from the brigade assessment, because I think exactly to the point around what do we need at the high school to be able to operate a food services program that provides the type and quality of foods that we like. So we'll be getting feedback around how many staff we need, how many ovens we need, what the serving lines would look like. And I think that will be really helpful as we develop a plan, as we're heading towards
feasibility.
The feasibility study and what the servery and the cafeteria will look like. We'll have some real hard information from a third party that I think will really support us.
It's timely, great. So thank you for that, and thank you for your report.
I mean, this year too, our meals, we look at what's the quickest service meal. So it's really hard to do the bowls we do because there's so many steps. So a chicken patty, it's one step.
Yeah.
So we try to balance, but on the days that we do more complex meals, it's tough on the students.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you for the report. Also, Ms. Nichols, your subject matter expertise, really helpful, especially as we navigate through another successful contract. And I think it's worth noting, too, we talk about budgets all year, but when it comes to food services, it's a self-funded entity. It's not, it's not connected to the appropriated budget, right? So it's important to note because then we're able to look at replacing aging equipment, like you said, and also as we'll talk about next, with the contract, look to invest in what was really the most important asset within food services, which is the people. We're able to make up some really significant ground in terms of getting more competitive with wages, and we can talk about that in a moment, but definitely impressive, and I appreciate all the information you shared in the report.
Thank you for the report. I have a couple questions. One, when it comes to reimbursement of meals with students needing to take certain aspects of the meal, otherwise they get charged for it. I'm assuming at the elementary level where kids might go through and say, I don't want that, I don't want that. Are we encouraging them to take those even if they're not necessarily going to eat it so that they're not getting charged?
So we serve very few non-reimbursable meals because pretty much every meal has two components already. So then a student is either taking a milk or a juice to drink. They can take both. I mean, we still have to encourage high school students to take that piece of fruit or vegetable.
Yeah.
But most of them do. I mean, when that 2010, when that first came out, it was a fight. But now most kids take a fruit or vegetable.
The other question I have is, so the meal pattern, and so some of these changes from the USDA, I'm assuming, without getting super political, that a lot of these changes came out under the federal government administration now versus like
the meal
Trump's-
meal pattern has been the same since 2010.
So the added sugars being less than 10%.
That was already
those
in the
have
law
already
for quite a few years.
So with the cuts to the food service part with the USDA, which is huge across the country, do you anticipate that being a challenge for our food service program? Because if we're missing out on money to fund, healthy food, do you find that might be more difficult to keep our meals healthy with the cuts that we're having and also having to stay in line with what the federal government wants for nutrition-wise? Do you foresee that being?
Not to keep the meals healthy, but right now we focus really on, I would say a typical food cost is 38%. We spend closer to 50 because we want those high quality, fresh fruits, vegetables. So, I mean, our meals will always be healthy, but it's definitely going to have some impact, mostly on the local produce.
Thank you very much for your report. I was struck by the number of students taking breakfast. To go, especially at the elementary level, to go up to almost 20% of students and I think maybe the start times do have something to do with that, given that they have more time in the morning. But has that been a challenge for you staffing-wise, or do you have to get folks in earlier to serve the
Because of the
breakfast?
volume of lunches we're serving, staff are now full-time, so they're there.
Great, well, thank you very much for the report. It was very helpful.
Thanks.
Dr. Sawyer.
Yeah,
Oh,
sure. Very quick follow-up on the volume of lunches being served. So is there a is there a pattern of the option is now being more available, the reduced food or the reduced lunch or whatever program, the federal program, eligible students are availing it more, or is it other students are more using it? So do we see that difference?
It's paid students, because prior to free universal meals, our free participation was high. Like
Right.
probably 76% daily of our free students ate, where our paid students, it went anywhere from 35 to 50. So we've captured that paid meal participation group.
But we didn't see any change in that either decrease or increase in the ones that are really needed, that need the like free or.
It hasn't affected
Okay.
that population, no.
I will say, as a former principal, and when the breakfast came on board, we had more students participating in the breakfasts, and I think that captured more students who may not have had breakfast, and there's some downstream, things around behavior and preparedness for learning that I think I don't have any data for, but I think there's some, stories that can be told around the impact of the breakfast for those students.
Thank you.
Dr. Sawyer?
Thank you. I want to thank Ms. Nichols for her leadership of the department and during this time that's both exciting in that we're able to serve meals to many, many more students than we previously did and provide that opportunity and reduce stigma in terms of students who might have been. I think there's students that to Mr. Villagaputi's question, who may not have been eligible for subsidized lunches in the past, but may have been on the cusp of needing that and not being in a particularly strong financial situation, who now can avail themselves to no-cost meals, both breakfast and lunch. And certainly we know food insecurity exists in Shrewsbury, as it does in every community, and I think that's something that's been a real positive development. So it's the proverbial good problem to have, but it is a problem. The volume that we have to serve each day, the space we have for storage, for serving, staffing, all of those elements. And so trying to crack that issue and at the same time find ways to improve quality, look at more scratch cooking, look at diversifying menus to be more culturally diverse. These are all things that I think are going to, over time, become real success stories for us. But we're sort of in that early stage of determining that. We'll look forward to the report early next school year in the fall from our consultant and how we're going to take that and start to move things forward in phases. But again, we're really deeply appreciative of the work that our cafeteria staff do. I know from firsthand experience being in schools at lunchtime and having had now 3 graduates of the school district. They make a difference in students' lives every day. The smiles, the connections, the opportunity for them to interact with our students and our staff is deeply appreciated, and they work very hard to provide the best product that they can and good experiences for our students and staff. So I want to thank the entire cafeteria staff. In addition to Ms. Nichols, and then also to Mr. Girardi for overseeing the program and working closely with Ms. Nichols as we try to advance these strategic goals. So thank you very much. We appreciate the report. We'll look forward to part 2 in the fall. And again, we're appreciative, and we would ask for your vote this evening on being able to adapt to the new reimbursement rate so we can take full advantage of the full reimbursement rate when the school year starts in late August.
So we do need to take a vote. Can I have a motion to authorize the district to adjust the amount charged for full lunches from $4.60 to the updated rate set by the National School Nutrition Program for the 25-26 school year?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What's next?
The next.
That's next.
The next item on our agenda tonight is another vote, the Shrewsbury Cafeteria Workers Association successor contract. Mr. Wensky and I, with the assistance of Ms. Malone, Mr. Girardi, and Ms. Nichols, worked with the Cafeteria Workers Association to negotiate a successor collective bargaining agreement for their members, and recently the parties arrived at a tentative agreement. The Cafeteria Workers Association ratified their agreement at an earlier date. Mr. Wensky, would you like to?
Yeah, it's been a busy year for contract negotiations for all groups, but I'd like to thank Ms. Nichols, Mr. Girardi, certainly for his financial guidance, and Ms. Boucher, Ms. Malone from an HR perspective, and then the cafeteria union team as well. They're very they're really good partners in the process. I know Jess Melanson, Brenna Aria, and their SEIU rep, Tracy Wright. It was a pleasure working with them. I feel we came to a really strong agreement. We were able to make up some ground in terms of hourly wages for cooks and managers. That brings us into market, which is gets us more competitive, which, as you can see from the report that Ms. Nichols provided, we're seeing the volumes increase, and we're seeing part-time go to full-time. It's just definitely something that we needed to make a strong impact on, and I feel like we came to a fair agreement. So thank you to everybody involved.
Yeah, and I'd just like to add that I think it does align with the strategic priorities of the district, that we'd like to see some improvements in this area in terms of scratch cooking, more healthy options, and also, given the volume of lunches that are being served and the work that these folks are doing, we're happy that we were able to kind of get some of the people more in market in terms of their hourly rate with this contract. So does anyone have any questions, or can we just go to a vote?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. I'd like a motion that the committee vote to ratify the 3-year successor collective bargaining agreement with the Shrewsbury Cafeteria Workers Association for the 3-year period starting July 1st, 2025 through June 30, 2028, as presented.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor shall signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. For joining us.
Nice job.
And the next item on our agenda is a fiscal year 2025 budget update and fund transfer vote. Mr. Girardi is here to present an update on the fiscal year 2025 budget status.
Thank you. This is our final budget report of the year. I believe we presented our first update back in December, and then again in April, and now as we head into the final few weeks of the school year, this is an opportunity to present where we are 90% or a little over 90% of the way through the fiscal year, and to provide an update in each of the different categories that we report on, and then be able to ask for your vote to close out the year with the final spending to get us to the full expense of the $86,615,519. So in closing the report, and we welcome anyone watching tonight to, this report will be online tomorrow, and to please go in and to take a look at it. But again, we report in different categories. I'll just kind of highlight some of the categories that we're keeping an eye on, and that are maybe trending different than what we might have expected. One thing I will say is that we are trending pretty close in all categories as to what we had anticipated at the when we first launched this budget. As far as our staffing goes, which is on this chart here, what we call our 8 categories, which is administration, Unit A, our paraeducators, secretaries and non-representatives, our substitutes, and then we have some other wages, employee benefits. They are all tracking as we have expected. We're 3% under in our Unit A. Again, that's just how some of the based on ongoing personnel activity. That's about $150,000 of the Unit A budget that we're coming under, just because we had some savings with some personnel activity, leaves, resignations, and such. But again, the remainder of the personnel categories are pretty much right on track. Our transportation, our regular education transportation, again, is slightly lower. Our McKinney-Vento costs are coming in a little bit less than what we had budgeted. Last year was a pretty significant spike in McKinney-Vento, and this year's budget, we really tried to make sure that we were hitting the target right. We've had a little bit less than what we experienced last year, so there's a small amount of savings there. We are higher in some co-curricular and vocational transportation costs, but again, a net a variance of just under 0.5% under the budget, which is strong. Our special education transportation continues to trend higher. Again, this, even with 2 weeks left, we continue to keep an eye on this category here. Right now, we're trending 8% over in this category here. Matches some town appropriated funds with some grant funding to cover our special education transportation. This 8% over, again, we feel is it's conservative, and that we still are awaiting some bills from some of our vendors, and until we have those, we're not confident. One thing that in many years, we hope to see a little bit of savings where we might be able to do some end-of-year kind of one-time purchasing. I'm not recommending that right now because I just don't have a strong grasp of the final invoices that we're going to receive from some of our special education transportation vendors. I'm hoping that may change, but right now I think this is a pretty solid estimate for our end-of-year expenses there. Our special education tuitions were actually coming in right at what we had expected to expense. What is shown here is when we presented the FY26 budget, we said that would carry forward through the FY25, $262,789 in planned carry forward. That is built in here. So our budget is trending to be able to carry that dollar amount, where what we'll do is we'll expense the $262,789 out of the appropriated budget into more special education tuition costs, which would then allow us to use less circuit breaker and carry that money forward into circuit breaker for next school year. Our vocational tuitions are coming in slightly under. We always budget for a few students to attend Assabet. We did not have any ninth graders get into Assabet this year, so we're seeing some savings there. And then we get into our D categories, and our D categories are oftentimes where we're able to find some one-time year-end spending. We're slightly over in some of our administrative contracted services. This was a year, again, Mr. Wensky shared that there were a lot of negotiations with our bargaining units, and that requires a lot of time from our legal services. And so that's, I think, some of the part that's over there. We also did conduct our DMG financial review, and the dollars that we spent there do come out of this category. We had planned for that, so things that we would often typically spend out of our administrative contracted services, we were able to manage that this category to account for the cost of the financial review. Our educational contracted services are slightly under. I think this is a good sign in years past where we didn't have positions filled that could do a lot of our educational services in-house. We had to go out of house to do them, and we've been able to slightly over time start to bring those back in-house, which is definitely a cost savings anytime that we can do that. And then textbooks and curriculum, we're right on. Same with professional development and materials. The one piece, our equipment's slightly under, but we have some categories where some of the IT costs that would historically live there, we have them living in some other areas such as educational supplies and materials. So just some of the ways in which we're identifying the expense item is just in a different category. And then our utilities, our telephone, we're 31% over. That's a pretty significant percentage, but it's on a small dollar amount. So it's about $30,000 more than what we had expected to expend in that category. Again, that's part of our new town-wide telephone system. So we're coming up to speed. Over the next few years, we'll adjust our budget to be able to assume the cost of the new telephone system. So our circuit breaker fund, we began FY25 with a balance of just over $2.6 million. This was 75% of the just over $3.5 million maximum allowable to carry forward from FY24, which was strong. We are on track as we budgeted to carry a $2.7 million reserve from FY25 into FY26, and we are on track to do that as we close out the year that those dollars have been earmarked, and that will be carried forward as we move into the next batch of circuit breaker funds for FY26. And again, that reserve, that carry forward of $262,789 will be realized at the end of this budget cycle. So having said that, it's recommended using the motion below that the school committee vote to authorize any final budget transfers between accounts to bring each account to $0 at the end of the year. I feel very confident that we will end FY25 a little after June 30th, once some final bills are paid, to be at $0.
Thank you, Mr. Girardi.
Thank you.
Anyone have any comments or questions for Mr. Girardi? Mr. Pellegapudi?
Thank you. It's a great breakdown of all the over and under
Thank you.
budgeted things. So it gives a good understanding of overall. So there's two things that definitely pops out is special education, transportation, and tuition. So do we have is this expected or is it one-time thing, or do we the follow-up would be, did we consider this increase in our next year's budget?
We have adjusted our increase in next year's budget to try and follow the trend of what we've experienced this year. We're still a few months behind on invoices from one of our transportation vendors, and that's where some of my uncertainty still lies. But having said that, a lot of the out-of-district or special education transportation that we use is through our Assabet Valley Collaborative, and we have been working with that Assabet Valley Collaborative to take a look at the transportation services that we are using and seeing if there's different options moving forward.
Well, may I ask one more question? So the other one, I know this. I know 31% looks too much. I know you clarified that it's only $30,000. Is that also a recurring cost, or is it a one-time cost?
For, I'm sorry, which?
For the D8
the utilities, the telephones. So this is interesting, is that some of these costs, the overall bill for the utilities and telephone is right around $100,000. So as we move into a more systematic approach to budgeting for these dollars, some of these dollars have been applied in FY24 into FY25, and then there's some offset to FY26. So as we come into a full cycle, we will be needing to adjust our utilities to come into an annual cost of around $100,000 for the overall operating system of the telephone expenses.
Wonderful, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Girardi. Dr. Sawyer, do you have anything to add before we vote?
No, I appreciate the oversight Mr. Girardi's provided, along with his assistant Kim Fitzpatrick throughout the year, to make sure that we're trending and staying on target. Again, this is another year when we will not need to require any more use of circuit breaker than we already planned. In the history, as long as I've been in Shrewsbury, I don't think the school department's ever gone to the finance committee to try to tap into their reserve. Fortunately, we're in very, stable financial times because thanks to the 2021 override, I think we've made good use of the town appropriated budget and offset that wherever possible with grants and then with philanthropic and donations and gifts and all those other types of pieces. As we go forward to the next year, we'll continue to look at these different trends, places where we need to make adjustments, and the fiscal 26 budget that you passed in town meeting subsequently approved certainly takes those trends into account. So I think we're in a very solid place, and ask that you do vote to make the transfers. The numbers may end up slightly different than the estimates here as when all the final bills are paid, but it will be very close to what's projected here in terms of how we're going to end fiscal 25. So appreciate the work and look forward to closing out the fiscal year.
Can I have a motion that the committee authorize the administration to make budget transfers from the original budget plan as necessary to eliminate deficits and surpluses with the intent of fully expending the total FY25 appropriation by June 30, 2025, and balancing all accounts?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Girardi.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda is with regard to the extended school care program tuitions. At the meeting on June 4th, Director of Extended Learning, Karen Isaacson, presented a report on the fiscal status of the program and made a recommendation for a 5% tuition increase for extended school care and increasing the kindergarten summer fund program teaching stipend from $500 to $600 and parent fee from $100 to $125. Dr. Sawyer concurred with the recommendation made by Ms. Isaacson. Is there any further discussion or comments on this? We can move to a motion then, that the school committee vote to adjust extended school care tuition by an increase of 5% for the 2025-2026 school year, and to adjust the kindergarten summer fund program teaching stipend to $600 and a parent fee to $125 for the 2025-2026 school year.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. The next item on our agenda is the fiscal year 26 non-represented staff compensation adjustments. Each year, the superintendent recommends changes in compensation rates for the coming fiscal year for non-represented hourly staff, including secretaries, clerical support staff, information technology support staff. A memo from Dr. Sawyer with information about this potential rate increases, along with the rate tables, has been provided to us. And we need to take a vote to approve the compensation adjustments. Does anyone have any comments or questions?
If I can just state what the
Yes.
recommendation
Oh,
is,
sure.
for the record, no, certainly the recommendation is for a 3% adjustment to the hourly wage for these non-represented staff. That matches what the base rate is for our para-educator group, which is the other large hourly group. They're represented, of course, by an association. That is what was budgeted. We will be able to make that work, and I'm pleased that the goal, of course, the school committee has always had is to attract and retain good employees. We have excellent retention of folks in these categories. And then we do have turnover because of retirements, for example. We've had some secretarial retirements. We've had strong levels of interest in those positions at the rate. So this kind of cost adjustment, we think, aligns with other groups and makes sense to maintain that competitiveness. So that my recommendation is for the, as in their packet, the 3% wage adjustment for the next fiscal year.
Thank you, Dr. Sawyer. May I have a motion to approve compensation adjustments of 3% to non-represented hourly staff for the fiscal year 2026?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. The next item on our agenda is with regard to the superintendent's compensation. After a discussion between the school committee and the superintendent, the parties have agreed to 2 adjustments to the existing employment agreement for the next fiscal year. The first is to update the number of sick leave days that may be used to care for a family member who's sick from 8 to 10, which mirrors the recent changes in the teacher's contract. The second is to provide a 3% increase to the superintendent's salary. All other contract terms will remain in place. Any discussion or questions? Okay.
Well, I just want to, for the record, we just want to say we had this conversation yesterday in
Oh, good point, yeah.
executive
At our workshop,
And
we had
Yes.
detailed
Yes.
conversation.
Okay, may I have a motion that the school committee vote to authorize the chair to execute an updated employment agreement between the school committee and Dr. Joseph M. Sawyer, as superintendent of schools, that changes the number of sick days that may be used to care for sick family members to 10, and provides a 3% increase to the superintendent's salary for fiscal year 2026.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. All right, I think the next item on our agenda is the approval of minutes from the school committee meeting held on June 4th of 2025. Anyone have any adjustments or changes to those? Okay, they'll be accepted as distributed. And then we do need to go into executive session tonight for the purpose A of addressing General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A7, to comply with or act under the authority of any general or special law or federal grant and aid requirements. Purpose 7, Open Meeting Law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 22F to G, for the purpose of reviewing, approving, and/or releasing executive session minutes. B, for the purpose of addressing General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect of the bargaining or litigation position of the public body, and the chair so declares. Purpose 3, including collective bargaining with the Shrewsbury Education Association, Units A and/or B, the Shrewsbury Para Educators Association, and/or the Cafeteria Workers Association. Paragraph C, for the purpose of addressing General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel, non-union clerical and support staff and/or administrators, including the superintendent of schools, purpose 2, and D, for the purpose of addressing General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A7, to comply with or act under the authority of any general or special law or federal grant and aid requirements, federal and Massachusetts student record laws, purpose 7, where deliberation in an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the public body, and return to open session only for the purpose of adjourning for the evening. This motion would recall, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call vote. Ms. Fritz?
Aye.
Mr. Wensky?
Aye.
Ms. Rifafort?
Aye.
Mr. Belagapudi?
Aye.
Ms. Boucher? Aye. Thank you and good night.